Dear students of the Anza and Foothill College, I'm honored to be invited to speak to you at your hackathon event. I'm very excited to be given a chance to speak to you. Due to my upside down schedule and being on the other side of the earth, I pre-recorded this speech. If you have any questions, please give them to your event organizers and I'll try to answer them before your closing ceremony. I started making games before there was a game industry. Before we had the term indie developers, I was making art, programming, composing music, writing user manuals, and designing package covers all by myself in the late 80s. Then when I tried to submit my works to EA, I was rejected. In the reply letter, they called me an electronic artist. I was so proud of having that title, it kept me going for years. Eventually, I made it to Silicon Valley, where you are today, to pursue my dreams. I had only a few $100 in my pocket, and I had to do manual labor jobs to get by while looking for a job in game companies. I want to say that hard things are not so hard to do when you do it with love. I entered the Street Fighter 1 competition and won the championship. That was in Taipei. Then in Sunnyvale, Golfland, I entered the Northern California Street Fighter 2 competition. I got a proper beatdown by a 12-year-old kid playing me while standing on a stool. My goal in life back then was that I wanted to work on Street Fighters. I had to take a pay cut to go work for Capcom after I left EA. Then, there, I learned from my senpai, Yoshiki Okamoto-san, the creator of Street Fighters. He was also the head of R&D at Capcom. I learned everything I know about studio management from him. We did not have hackathons back then. Every day was a hackathon, and we had to do our work with very little memory. 3DO had 2 megabyte DRAM and 1 megabyte VRAM. The CPUs were slow and GPUs didn't come in until much later. You have to remember you're not making code. You're not just programming. You are making art. Making never seen before experiences for players you may never meet in person. This is a different form of artistic expression, a form that is interactive. The experience can change based on the interactions between players and also between player and games. You should also know that the medium which that will carry your work is never perfect. You may be working on a very powerful computers and very big screens, and your users only have a small mobile phone with the sound turned off, and he or she may be on a bus or a train. This is the reason why we have to dial up the special effects 10 times, 100 times, to make it louder, bigger, and more exaggerated, supernatural, fantastical. Besides, it's a game, isn't it? We should make it fun. You have to allow your work to be able to speak for you. This takes real skills. Players don't want to be educated on why your game is fun. They just want to have fun. So please make it simple. Trip Hawkins, the founder of EA, he is one of my heroes. He said, successful games are sexy, easy to control, and have depth. This guideline has not failed for more than 3 decades. We need to make games that are easy to control. Sexy means the graphics are sexy. Graphics are attractive. When we see really good graphics, we want to play the game. So that will attract us into the game. And easy to control is to give us a sense of achievements and not to frustrate us too much from controlling the game. And finally, we need to make sure the games have depth. And with depth, there will come replayability. And replayability will bring in more sales through word of mouth between players. Your games have to have a story. And that's what gives the players purpose. We have to motivate the players to rescue the princess, as in Mario. Or in Double Dragon, you rescue your girlfriend that was kidnapped by mafia. So we can get inspirations from our daily lives on what motivates people. There are farming games, mining games, and so on. That's simply just a slice of our real life. Immersiveness is one of the hard rules in video games. We want to create an experience that the players do not want to come out of. So please don't interrupt the gameplay if you don't have to. I always treat my work as bigger than me. We have to learn to put our negative emotions aside, put our bickering aside, because the work is larger than all of us. We are creating something out of nothing. And we should not take this ability to create lightly. You must respect this magical ability in you. And your team has to be able to trust one another. You are being trusted with the tasks that was given to you by your teammates. This whole experience is sacred. St. Thomas Aquinas said that there are three major components to great art. The first one is integritas, meaning wholeness. The second one is consonantia, meaning proportionality. The third one is claritas, meaning radiance. So the wholeness, meaning the artwork has all the required pieces. Proportionality, meaning they come together in harmony. And if you do this right, the audience will resonate with your artwork through time. We can be marveled in the art galleries by artists that we have never and probably will never meet, and we can be touched by the artworks. Our works will outlast us on this earth. Please think about this while you express your gift. I want to also congratulate all of you for your courage. The best of us have always done it with very little sleep, lousy food, no help, and never enough time. So let's not disagree with reality and do your best within these constraints. There will always be constraints in life. The cost, the time, the scope, the quality are always challenging us to deliver more with less. In fact, I believe that constraints can force us to be more creative. Back in the days of arcade games, the hardware and software engineers had very little to go with, but they made it work. The game designers back then had to be more creative than the game designers today because the hardware was so slow and so little. And the software engineers will have to be creative in how they can get around and implement the features within very, very few computational abilities. I'll give you an example of Jim Simmons. Back in Madden 93 actually, Jim Simmons. For the football player's intelligence, in the player's stats, there's an intelligence rating. And Sega Genesis was very slow, so for him to solve both, to both implement the feature while optimizing for frame rate, Jim gave the players with lower intelligence rating less opportunities to reconsider its strategy, and the players with higher intelligence rating will get more, you could say, frames per second. So he's more agile. And so when you play the game, it does feel like players with lesser intelligence are less intelligent, and players with higher intelligence rating are more intelligent. So Jim was solving the frame rate problem while implementing the AI feature or intelligence feature in Madden 93, and that was genius. I always believe there's opportunity for greatness when we face a challenge and we turn it into an opportunity. I hope you will find the strength from this video that I'm sharing with you. Please do your best and learn from your lessons. There's only winning and learning. You will never lose. Thank you.